So, good day on this Friday, and delighted to be here with all of you. So, one of the themes for this week has been the way that certain states can exist together, sometimes in a spectrum, where the degree to which one or the other is depends where we are in the spectrum. And sometimes maybe we don't necessarily see it as a spectrum, we see it as being quite distinct, but that things can coexist. And happily, one of the things that can coexist is we can cling, we can be attached, we can be holding on, we can be heavily resisting something, and at the same time, be aware of that in a way that is free, that is not clinging. It's possible to have a very clear sense of knowing or of an open kind of awareness within which we know there is clinging, but the knowing is free. The knowing feels light, it has like no weight. The knowing feels maybe kind of, I don't know if allowing is the right way, or allowing is the right word, or accepting is the right word, but the knowing is equanimous. The knowing is not a hostage or not caught in what is known. And so this ability to do both is actually very significant for doing this practice, because some of us will have a very strong tendency to identify, to lock into different states, and especially if there's things we're critical about ourselves, or strong, very impulses which are of attachment. We could kind of get so preoccupied with it, so caught in it, that that it's almost like we become it, or it's inconceivable being without it, or it feels like we have to struggle with it, or fight it, or with it. But when we have a clear sense of this knowing, this awareness, this way of recognizing that is not caught, is not entangled with it, just simply knows. The simplicity of it, without identifying with it, without making it a problem, without making the knowing of it a problem. Maybe some things need to be addressed and there are issues, but the knowing is independent of the problem. It just knows. And that's a phenomenally useful reference point for finding our way. Because then we're not beholden to the attachment, to the clinging. We're not under its influence, which paradoxically we are if we're fighting it, or criticizing it, or upset about it. And so the fact that we can do both, be attached, and know it in a non-attached way. So that'll be kind of the orientation for this meditation. And so to assume your meditation posture, and gently close your eyes. And straight off here, what is the most obvious thing that you're aware of for yourself right now? And whatever is obvious right now for you, see if you can experiment with recognizing that's how it is in a relaxed recognition, as if you're sitting back and gazing upon it. Even if you are upset with it or have reactions to it, perhaps that which knows doesn't have to. Just know it. Some people, the idea of gazing upon it can provide a little bit healthy distance where the mind's eye is not caught in it, just sees what's there. So then to maybe with a reference point, with the sense of just knowings, unentangled awareness. Become aware of your body and let there be a few long, slow, deep breaths. If any of you have ever gone scuba diving, where you're aware of the vastness of the water around you, very attentive to it, and also it's so precious, each breath. And so here, it's so wonderful, the vastness of awareness, of consciousness, of knowing. And within it, the preciousness of breathing. Breathing deeply and relaxing. Letting your breathing return to normal. And maybe with relaxing on every exhale, see if there can be the breathing, the relaxation, while at the same time knowing it with ease, knowing it lightly, openly, not needing it to be anything or not a source of judgment, just knowing. Breathing simply, resting in the knowing that allows things to be as they are. The knowing that's not confined by what is known. And to practice that, first and foremost with the breathing. Staying connected to the breathing with a lightness, like a feather touch, but maintaining that feather touch, breath after breath after breath, lightly, staying in the unencumbered knowing. remember to come back to knowing, being aware. But as you come back to it, enter into it, appreciate whatever degree of freedom you find in knowing. Knowing is free from what is known. No clinging. And hopefully you feel delightful attraction to this present moment capacity to know without being entangled. And it's not so important what you know. So let yourself know whatever is happening in the present. But take refuge in the knowing that's unentangled. There's a strong tendency to identify with what we cling to, what we're preoccupied with. And so when we know it, that knowing can be influenced by that clinging. But to relax and almost maybe know from the back of the skull, to know somewhat removed from where the clinging is, and to know peacefully, lightly, the clinging itself. Perhaps you can know with more freedom if you have a small smile on your face, just a teeny turning up of the corners of the mouth. And maybe that brightens the awareness enough for a stronger sense of unconstricted knowing. And then as we come to the end of the sitting, to again maybe make a smile on your face. Because a smile on the face can make it harder to be grim, to be harder to be attached, harder to resist. And to not resist your capacity to gaze upon the world kindly, to gaze upon the world in a friendly way. What would it be like if you were a friend to all that lives? Maybe even there's hope that with warm and kind enough friendliness, you'll befriend even the enemies, even the people you have animosity towards. To have a smile on your face, to disarm your hostility, animosity, and to take the risk to gaze upon all that lives in a friendly way. And may it be that these 360 people now, of you all sitting here, may it be that that becomes a force of kindness, of friendliness that we carry out into the world today. May whatever benefit and merit we have from this meditation together spread from each of us in all directions out into the world, so we contribute to the welfare and happiness of others. May it be our wish that this meditation is for the happiness, the safety, the peace, and the freedom of those upon whom we gaze upon today. May we gaze upon them in a friendly way. So then we come to the last talk on the topic of conditioned consciousness. And our connection to being aware, to being conscious, is quite variable. And sometimes we have no connection at all. We could be so caught up in something, so preoccupied, so besides ourselves that we're besides ourselves. We lose ourselves in what we're doing. We can end up saying, I don't know what I was thinking or what I was doing. I didn't even know what I was saying when I said it. We can be so wrapped up in something that the very idea that we can be aware and conscious is far from the mind, far from what we're preoccupied with. And it's possible to be in states where it's just like so obvious that we're conscious. It's like this, like the main game in town is being aware and conscious. Maybe in a relaxing, wonderful day off, laying under a tree in the park and looking up at the clouds and the sky, and there's not much to see, but it's there's a clear sense of, wow, I'm aware, I'm present, I'm conscious, I'm alive. This is quite something. And the sense of consciousness there is really strong. And then from that place of being in a day off in the park looking at the sky, something might happen in the park that we feel we lose some of that openness, that lightness, that kind of awe, because we get caught in something. Maybe the ice cream truck goes by, and that's enough to kind of, that's like, brings up all kinds of memories from childhood, and you get absorbed in that, and the fact there are clouds and sky disappears. The fact that you kind of have capacity for consciousness disappears over the idea of the memories or the idea of wanting ice cream. Or someone gets up in a soapbox not too far away in the park and starts pontificating loudly about political views that are abhorrent to you, and you feel the contraction of the heart, contraction of the mind, and irritation, and with that, if you try to notice what's happened to that consciousness, you notice that consciousness itself might feel contracted or tight, or there might even be a resistance in the mind to even notice that you're aware in consciousness, because the strong pull into the world of irritation or anger or fear, or whatever it might be connected to that. So that our connection to consciousness, our connection to being aware, is quite variable. But I think that saying it that way is a little bit off, or very bit off. It implies that consciousness is something, a stationary, static thing, that we can have variable how we touch it or know it. But rather, what consciousness is it is shaped by the state of the mind. So in the park, looking at the sky, consciousness, what we feel as consciousness or awareness, has been expanded, has been created, has been imagined, constructed to be broad. When we get preoccupied and tight, then that sense of awareness, what awareness is, has become tight and constructed. There's not an awareness that somehow exists offline or outside that's broad and spacious. The consciousness has become that way. And this is a theory, but it's has just as valid as a theory that there is this thing called consciousness, which is always broad, and we lose touch with it. And my suggestion is that we're still in touch with it, but we're in touch with something now, that a consciousness that's become contracted and tight and narrow. So in this way is continuing this idea that our idea of what consciousness is, what awareness is variable, and it's influenced by all kinds of things. It's influenced by the degree of agitation, by the degree of peace or calm that we have. It's influenced by how much clinging we have and how much freedom we have. And so we contribute to that creation of consciousness by the state of our mind. And if particular states of mind are valuable and useful, then we want to kind of create the conditions for that to be there. An open, expansive, free consciousness is invaluable because it's a protection from clinging. It's a protection from greed, hate, and delusion. It's a protection from fear oftentimes. It's a space within which some of the best qualities of who we are have a chance to surface. Love can come, for example, rather than anger or blame. And it's almost like the more consciousness is made to be broad and open and receptive, the more space there is for some of the deeper, beautiful workings of our hearts, of our minds. So to begin appreciating our contribution to how we experience consciousness, how we experience awareness, and to use that awareness that's more light, more open, more non-reactive, to be aware of how we cling, how we tight, how we resist. And that's a fascinating way an alternative to collapsing into our clinging, getting sucked into it, rather to know it. So we can be clinging and we can know it. And the image I like to have is someone, a tight fist that doesn't want to release itself. And a hand comes from underneath it and just holds it gently, just gives it support, takes its weight. And as the fist feels the support, then it begins to relax. So this awareness that can know attachment, can know clinging, it's kind of like there to offer support, there to hold it, there to be its friend, to accompany it, so that the clinging is not condemned, is not fought with, is not denied, not trying to pushed away, but so the clinging has a chance to uncling, so that the way that we're entangled can be unentangled, can disentangle itself. And this way in which this broader, more equanimous knowing that's independent of what is known, that's not entangled with what's known, can meet then the clinging, is one of the great powers of this Buddhist practice. It meets it, and if you're patient, you can discover that you don't have to do the unclinging. You don't have to do the letting go. To know with non-clinging allows what's clung to, allows the clinging, the attachments we have, to slowly thaw, to slowly unwind, to slowly release. And so in this way, in this lesson, it becomes more and more important the further we go in Dharma practice. That as we get more and more concentrated, more still, more mindful, the mindfulness and meditation gets stronger, the more and more important it becomes not to be the one who lets go, not to be the one who unclings, but rather to just allow the knowing to be the tenderizer, the dissolving agent. Just know, without any reactivity. So that becomes more and more important because we keep practicing. Early in practice, like the beginning of a sitting, please, by all means, relax your body, let go of what is easy to let go of. But then over time, hopefully you'll discover how wonderful, how smile-producing it is to know without attachment, to know without being caught into or glued to what is being known. What is being known is allowed to be as it is, and you can settle back and know in a way that knowing maybe will be smile-producing for you. How lucky we are to be able to know this way. How delightful to know this way. How wonderful to know in a way that can bring forth all kinds of gifts for the world. And may it be that you will discover something about a liberated awareness that allows you to be a gift, your full giftness for this world. So thank you very much, and I look forward to being back here on Monday.